Joining me now is Alan Dershowitz, professor emeritus at Harvard Law School and author of War Against the Jews, How to End Hamas Barbarism. Boy, you wrote that one in a hurry, but it was necessary. It is necessary. And I just wonder if the people in Harvard running that place actually get it. I mean, when you look at the president who had that horrific testimony in front of Congress where she essentially said it depended on the context whether anti-Semitism was correct or not. Then you had these revelations about her plagiarism, and she's still there.
Well, not only that, but she's supported by the vast majority of the Harvard faculty, including many of the Jewish faculty. They're so craven. They're so frightened of retaliation. They are so afraid to speak their heart and their conscience that they provide support for a president who's going to help not only destroy Harvard University, but she's helping to mainstream anti-Semitism. She was the queen of cancer culture and censorship when it came to anybody saying anything slightly negative about privileged minorities,
Right.
blacks, gays, and others. But when it comes to genocide against the Jews, suddenly she's discovered free speech. You can't have free speech for some, but not for others. The worst thing about her testimony is the double standard she applied. But I want to go beyond the universities to the mainstreaming of anti-Semitism. What was the most highly attended movie this weekend? It was The Color Purple, written by Alice Walker, a rampant, virulent, bigoted anti-Semite, somebody who has said terrible, terrible things about Jews, like Kanye West, but unlike Kanye West, has never apologized. She's taking her anti-Semitism right to the bank. She's one of the wealthiest authors in America. Can you imagine if somebody who was anti-black, but a great movie writer and a great book writer, was trying to get a movie produced today? The double standard is just so rampant. Just because you're black and an author, just because you're black and a scholar, doesn't give you a license to be anti-Semitic. We cannot allow this double standard, and it's becoming pervasive and mainstreamed through America.
Well, it is, excuse me for 1 second, because it is changing. It is changed. There is pushback. I mean, we had the University of Wisconsin cut back on its DEI programming. By the way, they had as many DEI programmers, if you can use that phrase, than they did members of the history department. So it's just a huge, it's like an industry now, DEI, and all these woke people that they have enforcing these principles that they have. So there is pushback, but it just seems like Harvard is impenetrable, that the woke crowd has a fortress up that nobody can get through.
Look, Harvard has a history of never saying we're wrong, never apologizing. We're Harvard. And if we say it, we must be right. The rest of the universe should follow us. That's been the problem of Harvard. That's the problem of the faculty. They follow like little lemmings. They don't come up with independent criticism and independent ideas. And Harvard is suffering. It's suffering around the world. Its reputation is suffering. Its students are suffering. Its faculty is suffering. Its alumni are suffering. And now the faculty have the chutzpah to attack alumni, saying, no, don't listen to these rich alumni, by which they mean don't listen to these Jews, mostly. John Huntsman was one of the complainers. He's not Jewish. But primarily the donors that they're complaining about are Jewish. Don't listen to them. Listen to other rich people who are on the board, who are the corporation, because they're woke and they're progressive. You can listen to them, but don't listen to alumni who are disfavored and who are not woke.
But things have changed.
Terrible.
I mean, things have changed recently dramatically. I think it's over the past 5 years that we've seen this hypocrisy full steam ahead, where you cut out anything that reeks of conservatism at these universities. But is the idea of judging somebody at a campus like Harvard or one of the great universities like Stanford in California or University of Chicago, is it dead? The idea of just judging somebody on academic merit as opposed to ideological bias?
It's dead. It's dead in a lot of ways. First of all, everybody gets A's, which means nobody gets A's.
That's a good point.
Which grading has been abolished. If President Gay, if her acts were done by a 19 or 18-year-old freshman student, she or he would be booted out of the university without a doubt. I know. I had a case like that. I had to bring it to court on behalf of a dyslexic student who omitted a footnote because the secretary didn't appropriately type it. And the school said, no excuses, absolute liability. Doesn't matter if it wasn't your fault. You know, we're accusing you of plagiarism. By that standard, President Gay should have been gone a long, long time ago. The double standard is the problem. DEI stands for the double standard. It says if you're black, we judge you differently
But
from
final
if you're
question,
white. Equity.
Professor, final question. Isn't a case going to come up where a student says, look, yes, I may have made some I may have done a little plagiarism here and there, but I did nothing as bad as what President Gay did, and if she can get away with it, so can I. Aren't we going to have a case like that?
Yes, and I'll defend them pro bono. I will go to court on their behalf to impose a single standard on my own university. I have a stake in this. 50 years at Harvard teaching, 10 years retired from Harvard. I want to see Harvard retain its status as a great university. Right now, it's going downhill so fast that I will do whatever I can to preserve the single standard. You know, the motto of Harvard ought to now be not veritas, but double standard.
Oof. Professor, I hope you get a case like that, and I would pay to come to court to see you argue that case. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Great Alan Dershowitz.